Is your toddler driving you crazy at bedtime? Well, you're not alone. I'm Brooke, I'm one of the sleep consultants here at Little Ones, and today I'm going to be running through 3 common sleep issues our toddlers have and ones that we get asked about the most. This involves bedtime battles, refusing naps, and getting up in the night. So today I'm going to run through a few tips and tricks how to get around these sleep issues and challenges. Now, nap refusal don't necessarily mean that your toddler needs to drop their nap. This usually doesn't happen until around 3 years old. It could be your toddler is in the 2-year sleep regression. This sleep regression will pass on its own, so keep offering the nap. At this age, we will be aiming for a long midday nap, but not too long, as this can increase their likelihood of bedtime battles. We can adjust our toddler's awake window to ensure that they are getting enough awake time. So you can do this by waking them up in the morning earlier or pushing their lunch nap out and putting them to bed a little bit later. If your toddler is happy in their bed, then just leave them to it. They may find you coming into the room as an indication that it's time to get up and not time for sleep. So if they're happy, just leave them to it, and eventually they will go to sleep. But if not, at least they're getting some rest. If your toddler skips their nap, then we would be aiming for an earlier bedtime. This earlier bedtime will just help your toddler from becoming overtired, as overtiredness can also increase the likelihood that your toddler will fight bedtime. If your toddler consistently refuses their nap, then we may need to give them a nap on the go in the car or the pram to ensure that they don't become too overtired. I would do this on day 2 or 3 just to make sure that they get some sleep in and they don't build up too much sleep debt. Most toddlers still really need their nap, so make sure to continue to offer it and try these tips and let us know how you go. Here are 4 tips to stop toddler bedtime battles. Tip 1. Make sure your toddler's awake time and sleep time is enough. At this age, we're aiming for a long lunchtime nap, but not too long that they are undertired come bedtime. Tip 2. Make sure your room environment is conducive to sleep. If your toddler's sleeping in a very bright room and full of toys, they most likely won't go to sleep and they'll be too distracted. So make sure your room is nice and dark. Make sure they have white noise or songs or an audiobook to listen to and a cuddly or comforter so that they feel safe and secure in their bed. Tip 3. Make sure to have a consistent and relaxing bedtime routine. Avoid any screen time or sugar 2 hours prior to going to bed, as this can be overstimulating for your toddler. Tip 4. Stay consistent with your settling routine. If your toddler is now needing you to be in the room when they go to bed, you just need to gradually reduce how much you help them. So maybe if you're patting them to sleep, you can gradually stop patting them and just sit by the bed. Or if you're just sitting by the bed, you can gradually move away from the bed every few days until you're out of the room and just using your voice to soothe if they need it. If you follow these few simple tips, then you can say goodbye to those toddler bedtime battles. And if you do implement these tips, please let us know in the comments below. One of the easiest ways to stop your toddler from getting out of bed in the night or during the naps is to just keep them in a cot. If they aren't climbing out or doing anything dangerous, then there's no reason to move them to a toddler big bed. Keep them in their cot for as long as possible and as long as they can still fit, and you won't have these issues until they're older and they have more understanding of needing to stay in their room. If you needed to move them to a big bed and they're continuously getting out overnight, we can try using silent return. So basically, you put your toddler to bed, they come out of their room, you just pick them up silently, no communication, just put them back into their bed silently and leave the room. You may have to implement this a lot of times before it starts to work, but it is pretty quick if you can stick to it. From 2 years old, a sleep training clock can be a really good tool to use if your toddler is getting out of bed in the night or early in the morning, as they can have this visual aid to know that it's still nighttime, and it will change over to show that it's daytime and they will know it's time to get up. If you have a very persistent toddler, you can also implement things like a baby gate across the door There's some barriers to avoid them from coming out of their room. They still have some freedom, but if they can't come out of their room, they will most likely just go back to sleep. From about 2 years old, our toddlers are very, very clever. So if you are going through these nighttime wakes where they keep coming out of their room, if you just stay consistent and avoid things like bringing them into your bed or cuddling and rocking them back to sleep in their room, you'll get past this phase quickly. If you do those things, they will quickly catch on and they can really protest being in their room. They're very, very persistent, and they'll keep doing this until they get those new things that they enjoy, like sleeping in bed with you or getting rocked and pat back to sleep. So if we can avoid that and implement some of these tips I've mentioned, then we can say goodbye to these constant night wakes and coming out of the room and say hello to full night's sleep again. When it comes to toddler sleep, there are so many challenges that us parents can face. I've touched on 3 in this video, so if you have any further challenges that you would like to tackle, then make sure to check out our sleep program at www.littlenones.co and you'll be able to find the answers there. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Make sure to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for further information just like this.